Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Healing Project with Tina Rane. I have an amazing guest for tonight. Our guest is none other than David Ware. I was blessed to meet him on Facebook, actually. We're actually Facebook friends. So let me give you a little background about David. David is a father, he's a husband, a father of 10. He is a proud business owner, and he is a podcast owner as well. So he does podcasts with him and his other partner, and they speak about things that dealing with men. So that is something that you guys may want to, chime in on. There's something that you guys may want to follow David Ware if you're not friends with him. But let me not waste any more time. I'm going to introduce none other than David Ware. All right.
Hello,
David. Hey, how you doing?
doing well. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate the invite. I really understand that this time we're in right now. It's very important to understand that we're dealing with men. We have to take a step back sometimes and really look at situations from a perspective of realizing that a lot of men are dealing with a lot of issues that cause certain things in their lives to
Yes.
be I could just say in a behavior situation that causes them to
Mhm.
do things that are not necessarily always the best, but
Yeah.
there's always a reason behind certain things that they do. It's
Right.
just trying to get down to the root of it to figure it out so that change could take place so they could
Right.
be able to have a better life as a result of it. And I
Yes.
think that more dialogue should be done when it comes to men health, mental health, and things of
Mhm.
that nature. I know we just had Mental Health Month, but
Mhm.
you have a lifetime of mental issues. A month is just not long enough. It's something that you have
Right.
to do for a lifetime. You know.
Yes. I'm glad that you said that, and like I was telling to you behind, before we got live, that a lot of women speak about things that they deal with on a daily, issues that they, have to endure as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter. But
Yes.
we rarely see a man come on and speak about the things that they deal with on a daily, because we know that we all deal with something, whether it's from work, whether it's from home, what society, community, whatever it is, we are all dealing with something.
Right.
But yet again, the men do not, and there's not enough platforms that allow men to speak, or there's not enough platforms that men are creating so that
Right.
they are able to speak about the issues that you guys deal with,
Right.
being a man, being a husband, being a father, and things of that nature.
Right.
So tonight, I'm so excited. I was ready for this. So
Absolutely.
tonight we're gonna talk about a lot of things that deal with men. Um, and I was blessed to have watched your video that you shared with me.
Yes.
And one of the topics that you guys were speaking about was teen fathers.
Yes.
And we always again hear about mothers or young girls being teen mothers, but we rarely hear anything about a young man being a teen father.
Yes.
So, so are you ready? We're gonna ready to dive in.
Yes. I'm definitely
So,
ready.
share with us when you were a teen and you were faced with becoming a teen father. What was the first thing that went through your mind?
Well, the first thing enters your mind is fear, because you have the fear of not knowing, not
Right.
understanding. You really don't know at this particular time the magnitude of creating a child.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't have an understanding about things, it makes you shy away from it, makes you
Right.
run away from it. It makes you feel
Right.
like, I'm not ready. You know,
Mm,
with women, it's automatic for them because once they have the child is there with him at all
right.
times. If the man is there or not. Um, I just think that when you're young, you're undeveloped, and you're not
Hmm.
matured enough to understand these things,
Right.
this is a big problem because this is why so many children are raised without fathers because there's such a lack of understanding of what any of that even means. It doesn't
Yes.
even matter if you have an example or not. Without having
Mhm.
the experience and understanding, what can you
Mm-hmm.
truly do? It's everything is becoming trial and error at this point. So
Right.
fear is, I think, one of the biggest things that teenagers go through, along with the fear that the women have. I mean,
Right.
it's just men deal with it a little differently. Men deal with it in a way where it's like, okay, you know what, the baby ain't with me, so I'm just gonna, go over here and go over here and kind of, take a step back.
Right. Right.
The damaging part about that is the fact that that child is now being raised without a balance. The child is not
Mm.
being raised with, the love of both parents, giving
Right.
them everything that is essential for the growth and the development of them. And this is why I always, excuse me, this is why I always emphasize to young people,
Mm-hmm.
our children before you're ready, because there's a level of mentality that has to
Mm-hmm.
develop before you can procreate and bring in a child into the world.
Yes.
And I
Yes. Yes.
think that for the most part, we once it happens, no one digs into the beginning stages of it. It's just the aftermath. So now
Right.
we start creating these stigmas that, oh, he's just a deadbeat, he's this, he's that, da 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 da. But
Mm-hmm.
no one stops to think and say, you know what was his life like growing up? Who was
Right.
his, mentor? Who taught him how to take care of this business or that business, or understand how to, you know, go about, you know, dealing with a child from a perspective of teaching that child and being active in their life. If they never saw it, felt it,
Mm-hmm.
taught it,
Mm-hmm.
anything, and then the expectation
Right.
is just automatic, he just should know what to do. And that's not true. It's not real. It's not reality.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And it's good that you said that because, again, being a man, and I'm not a man, so I don't know, but I know I have boys
Yeah.
and or young men, and I see the things that sometimes that they go through with
Right.
their children's mother.
Right.
Um, so let's dig into that because you touched on it briefly in your statement. Now, yes, we don't know how, being a teenager, we let alone know how to take care of ourselves in the midst of that.
Yeah.
But now we're responsible for somebody else.
That's right.
Now, on the flip side, now when you have a young man that he's willing to stick with you we find out you guys are pregnant,
Uh
and
huh.
he is young, and when he can be out hanging out with his friends, going to the mall, going to dances, going to football games, and what have you, but yet he chooses to stick by you and help you with the child.
Right.
Now we have parents that are interfering, which can be a
Mm.
good thing. They can help their child, but then you have the parents that are toxic, which in terms because they're jealous. I've seen this, so I'm speaking about
Yeah.
something I've
Yeah.
seen where the mother is jealous of her daughter because
Mhm.
now the man is sticking by her side to help raise the child.
Right.
And she
Right.
wasn't blessed in that area to allow the man to stay by her side to help raise their children. And so now the parent, the mother, is spitting venom, which actually causes a lot of havoc in the relationship
Yeah.
for the young man to help raise his child. So
Yeah.
in the midst of that, what would you give to the young man that is actually in that situation right now?
Well, what I would basically do is just have him to understand how important it is to just continue to grow and develop. Influences from different people, especially people who don't have the ability to like get themselves in order when they're trying to give
Mhm.
advice about something. Um,
Right.
that tends to seem to be the stigma that goes around in most of those situations. It's like, okay, I didn't have everything in my life the way it was supposed to be, but I
Right.
see you in that position. But your situation is not ending up like mine, so
Mhm.
I feel like I'm going to infiltrate that with what my toxic state of mind is.
Right.
The young man just has to be able to understand that he has to stand his ground. He has to
Mhm.
continue to grow and develop because everything that he's going through right now,
Mhm.
10 years from now, it won't be the same. It will
Right.
be
Okay.
totally different. It will be something now where, he's matured enough now to be able to, actively do what he has to do as a father for those
Yeah.
children and be
Right.
able to have some success with it. Sometimes you just got to cut people off,
Mm.
if it's
Yeah.
family member or whoever, because if
Right.
anything is interrupting your development and growth and what you're striving to do, then
Mhm.
you got to do away with it because why am I going to allow that to continue to interfere in my life if I already made a decision to do
Yes.
what I feel like is right to do? And
Yes. Yes.
those are the type of things that, as young men, that we have to, instill in them, and let them understand. Look, there's going to always be opposition. There's going to
Mm-hmm.
always be people going to say whatever they're going to say.
Right.
You just got to be able to understand what your commitment is and what you are putting in your mind that you're striving to do, and
Right.
stick with that. Let it
Yes.
become the focal point, and let it become the foundation of which you develop and you grow from. And at the end of the day, you'll be fine.
Right.
Everybody's going to end up, once you start going in motion,
Mm-hmm.
either people around you is going to join in and be a part of it, or they're just going to fall off. And it's just as simple as that. There's nothing you should feel bad about.
Yes. 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 That's
So,
good.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's good. So, what were some of your biggest challenges as a young man being a teen father? So, what was the biggest challenges that you said that you faced in trying to raise your children?
Oh man, what do I begin? First of all, I was a teenager that left home very young. I was 16 years old. Um,
Okay.
so I was out in the world, striving to make it, and striving to fend for myself. Maybe I wasn't even old enough to put an apartment in my name yet.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I found a way to do it, but it's like at 16, that's not some of the things that I was should have been trying to do. I should have been in school, striving to develop, striving
Right.
to on and have a career of some sort, but that
Mm-hmm.
didn't happen for me. So, being, a young man at 16 years old, having these responsibilities, it
Yes.
weighed heavy on me because
Mm.
every decision that I made was just basically trial and error. I
Right.
try to do this, to try to do this, and try to do this, and then all of a sudden, I'm running into brick walls here and there. So
Mm.
the people that are around you at that time, they influence you or they give you advice, and you're
Mhm.
dealing with people who pretty much don't know what's going on themselves. But
Right.
listening to it because you're so young, you're so influential. So now you're taking those things and you're trying to apply it, and there's no success in it because there's really no real game plan behind nothing they're talking about. And so now
Right.
you
Mm.
just kind of wandering through the wilderness, and
Mm.
time go on, um, if you're dealing with any type of traumas or anything from your childhood prior to that, now you
Right.
add more trauma because now at that time where you could be possibly getting some help or possibly developing and growing and kind of going in a different direction than where you thinking, you're dealing
Mm-hmm.
with all these other situations that you're making these decisions to do and making these mistakes, and they're
Yeah.
costly mistakes. You
Mm.
it's causing your life to start turning and twisting in all different type of directions, and before long it's so out of control you can't reel it back. You know what I mean?
Mm. That's
So
good. That's good. That's
yes,
good. And it's something that trauma,
yeah,
that trauma, boy, is something that, a lot of us had, gone through or dealt with some things in our childhood that, caused trauma. And again, like you said, being a young person and then dealing with your childhood trauma and now bringing something else, adding on to your trauma because now you're confused and you're stressed and you're overwhelmed because you don't know how I'm going to provide for myself. Like you said, you in the streets. So,
right,
how am I going to provide for myself now, let alone provide for a young person? How am
right.
I? And I'm responsible for this person, this life. So how do I put all this together? How do I even maneuver? How do I think and then try to juggle your education?
Right.
Now, by doing that, how did that affect your education? Did you continue with your education or you just, felt that I had to take care of my responsibilities?
So my education became very spotty. I started trying to go to adult ed and get the GED, which I
Hmm.
was a pretty smart guy. It's just, and I was pretty, book smart, but
Okay.
wasn't, fully developed in as far as the educational system goes when it comes to getting to those different levels. But I knew enough to be able to pass the GED. But the problem
Okay.
was certain the GED test, the way it was set up was you can have an overall passing grade, but if you don't pass
Okay.
individual classes with the points that you need, then you fail.
Hmm.
So I kind of left it
Mm.
alone. That's when I ended up,
Okay.
going into the streets and getting into the drug business and stuff like that. So
Okay.
for some years, I didn't think about school. All I thought about was making money and trying to survive and
Mhm.
trying to figure out a way to do something more with what I was
Okay.
doing. And as time went on, and all these different things that I experienced and gone through, going to jail and almost going to prison for 25 years, and it was just so many different things that kept hindering me in ways where I had one of the biggest issues in my life, time after time after time, coming down the pipe, that I didn't have
Mhm.
thought of figure out anything else about education, anything else. So
Okay.
once I had got to the point where I was starting to ask God to like help me out of this situation. Like I wanted
Okay.
out of it so bad that I started praying. And you talking about I'm a
Mm.
full selling drugs, asking God to help me out of my situation. And
Right.
just one day out of nowhere, a couple of incidents took place, and
Mhm.
there I was facing 25 to life, and
Wow.
ended up joining the Nation of Islam. And
Okay.
that organization helped me in ways that I would have never ever been able to correct or change anything within myself, um,
Mhm.
because of what they offer. The education, the
Okay.
discipline, the
Mhm.
teaching, God, and teaching about self care and who we
Mhm.
are as people, and all these different things that I've never paid attention to before. So
Mhm.
it caused me and persuaded me, to go back into trying to get my education again.
Oh,
And then
good.
so I went back, I took the GED test again, and I failed. So
Mm.
again, like, oh damn, man, you know what? I got to figure out something. So
Mhm.
I started working. I started, developing the skill of plumbing, and
Mm.
I spent 10 years, working for different companies and things of that nature. And so after a
Okay.
while, I started, thinking like, you know, I'm pretty smart. I'm figuring
Mhm.
out everything that goes on with these jobs, and I'm the one that's really making it all happen.
Right.
Excuse me. How can I make this become something I could do for myself?
Mm.
That's when I started, developing really good people skills, developing really good administration skills. I was
Okay.
developing, you know, uh, uh, structuring business from the perspective of getting guys together and putting them and organizing them to be able to put together projects and stuff like that. And so
Mhm.
eventually I just ended up quitting the job because it was starting to get in the way of the business. The business was going so good. And
Uh-huh.
so, um, from that point on, I just stayed on that course. I never let it go. I kept going, I kept moving forward with it. And
Good. 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 Good.
it good for me in that aspect. But at the same time, I'm still dealing with everything else on the other side of it, which was
Mhm.
my mental still hadn't developed. The
Right. Right.
trauma still was experiencing, still had not been overcame. I was still struggling and battling with so much, even though it didn't seem like it on the outside.
Okay.
Inside, it was just constant turmoil, and
Wow.
it took a very long time to get to a point where I had to start, looking at life
Mhm.
where I was at and how things was, to saying, you know what, I gotta make a change. I gotta do something different because this is not leading me in the direction I want to go as far as my mental and my behaviors was.
Right. Right.
So once I made the decision, it was a it was a big weight lifted off my shoulders. I felt
Okay.
like I expressed this a couple of times. When I first decided to seek a therapist, I cried
Mhm.
like a baby because it was like so many years of all this weight just
Mhm.
loaded up on me to where all of a sudden I just dropped it all because I allowed
Mm.
myself to just open up and say,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to accept the correction. I'm going to accept the responsibility for
Right.
taking.
Right.
I'm going to accept the responsibility and take accountability for every decision that I made that was not the best decisions, and that was causing more problems and harm.
Mm,
And once I was able to start doing that, then the process of healing could start taking place. And it
right.
was, it was choppy. It was, one day I'm good, and the next day I'm not good. One day I'm back, you know what I'm saying? So it's a roller.
Right.
You know what I mean? You go through so much. I don't think a lot of people really understand the magnitude of mental health and how it affects the life so.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
we, we
Yes.
can we can appear to be whatever we want to be. We can
Come
pretend
on.
who anything we
That's
want.
right. Come on.
But
Yes.
reality kicks in, and you really got to look yourself in the mirror and say, what are you? Who are you? What do you stand for? About?
Yes. Yes.
That's it
Yes.
really hits you. It's those times when you by yourself. Nobody,
Right.
you all make you feel special. None of that.
That's it.
It's a battle, but man, listen, I love you know the process. I love the
Mhm.
journey because I
Yes.
know what the outcome is going to be. I know what to look forward to. It gives you
Yes.
so much hope. It gives you such a refinery in life to where for a while I didn't know how. I knew how to be happy. Like it just, I laughed,
Wow.
I joked and that, but in deep down
Right.
inside, I wasn't.
But that's good right there, Dave. What you said. You say for a while you didn't know how to be happy,
Yeah,
and that is a lot of people.
yeah,
We're faking the funk. We thinking that we're covering up with makeup and expensive clothes and fancy cars and nice houses, but deep down inside you're still unhappy.
right,
And then we think that okay, by getting into another relationship or maybe lying down with somebody else, oh, I'm going to go ahead and make another baby now.
yeah, yeah,
It's going to take away that pain. But
yeah.
again, that adds more trauma because you didn't heal from the first time.
Right,
Now you bring somebody into a toxic situation. Now you want to bring a baby into the situation. And
yeah,
it's good that you said that because again, we always hear women speak about
hmm,
mental health. We always hear women speak about how it affects us, but we
hmm,
never hear from the man's perspective mental health in men because a lot of men and I know growing up, it was a bad word for men to say, "Oh, I'm not going to no doctor. I'm not going to no therapist."
I was
It
one.
was bad in our culture.
Yeah, I was one of those people. I was one of those ones who did that and said those type of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was talking about this one day about the whole ideal behind you know the way men are viewed and then how they view themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have a how can I say this? So with men are not expected to feel anything. Men are not expected to
Mm.
feel like I'm having a weak moment
Okay.
or I feel like I'm sad right now. I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel good. I feel down. I'm tired. I'm drained. I'm this.
Yeah.
I'm that. You don't get to say those type of things because for some
Mm.
reason it's not looked upon as strength. We look weak.
Come on. Come on. Yes. Help.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? So it becomes something that we hide and we put under the rug and we just
Mhm.
keep treading on, and then before
Right.
you know it, we wonder why a woman looks so young and we look so old. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying?
But you
Straight
know
on.
what, David? But on that note too, when we're growing up,
Mhm.
women or young girls, we're taught to be, we're emotional creatures. So we're taught, how to play house. We
Right,
have our little doll, we have our little kitchen, we're doing all those things.
right.
And I'm guilty. What I'm about to say, I'm guilty of that. I used to tell
Mhm.
my boys, stop crying,
Yeah,
don't cry.
yeah,
You're not a girl. Stop crying.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that has been passed down from generation to generation,
Absolutely.
where it has really messed up men, like
Hmm.
really messed up young men, because now they don't know how to show their feelings or their emotions, especially when they go into a relationship. So
Yeah,
and I know me, I was bad with that. I'm like, what's wrong with you? I know
yeah,
something's wrong with you. Just say
yeah,
what's wrong. And but
yeah,
again, they will say, oh, nothing's wrong with me. And they keep walking, but you can tell that there's something's wrong,
yeah.
but they don't want to express their feelings.
No, it's because we don't teach emotional intelligence. We don't teach, and it's done because we just flat out ignorant to stuff like this. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's we don't teach that emotions is not a bad thing if you know how to utilize your emotions properly.
Come on, come
So
on.
what we do is, instead of doing that, we just
Mm-hmm.
automatically shut them down. Oh, you
Wow.
can't. You ain't supposed to do that. This ain't what men do. This ain't what boys do. This ain't this and this and that. I'm guilty of it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
one of my sons played football when he was a child. If he told me he was hurting, I would tell him, if his helmet don't have his head rolling around in it and he carrying it, don't come to me.
Oh. Uh
I miss,
oh.
and it's like, and
Yeah.
it's funny because it's like, hearing me say that now, I feel
Mhm.
like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
And it made him where he became. I mean, one time in high school, he broke his finger.
Mm-hmm.
Never said nothing. Played a whole game, and I
Oh
don't know
wow.
that the finger's broken until I just see it. It's all purple. I'm like,
Mm.
the finger's broken. What are you doing? And it dawned on me at that moment, like, it's my fault. I put
Wow.
that mind to be that way,
Yeah.
So it's like I said, we all guilty of it. We
Yes.
until we start. This is why it's so important that we get the therapy. Like, I can't emphasize on that enough, because I would
I
like people
agree.
to understand that therapy is just a way of life. It doesn't say
Yeah.
anything about you. It doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't make you feel
Right.
like you know you ain't nothing and you less than. I mean, it is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Nothing, nothing in your life should feel better than having happiness. If you hold
Yes.
on
Yes.
to whatever traumas and toxications that's going on, am I saying it right? Toxications or whatever.
Toxicity. Yes. Uh-huh.
Toxicity. I'm sorry. If you holding on
I
to
got
that
you. I
kind of
got you.
stuff, if you hold on to that kind of stuff and you think that's making you something,
Yes.
if you look at the damage and the carnage that's left behind because of all that,
Mm.
you go one day look up and say, "Damn, man, why was I like this? Why did I do this?" Well, it's because
A lot of casualties. A lot of casualties.
a lot of
Mm.
casualties, including
Yes.
yourself. You killing
Yes.
yourself. You don't even know you're killing yourself too.
Yes.
So it's
Absolutely.
like,
Absolutely.
I gotta speak on it, because this is what's got me in a better place in this day and time. And
Mm.
I
Mm.
will talk about this until the day I get in the grave, because I would love for everybody to feel like this. Yes, it's not peaches and cream all the time and things like that. But I always got something
Right.
to look forward to. You know what I mean?
Right,
I
absolutely.
mean,
But they say, what's that saying they used to say back in the day? No pain, no gain.
that's right.
No pain, no gain.
Absolutely.
But it's good that we're having this dialect, because I want people to see men for who men are. They're individuals just like we are.
Right.
And it's bad enough that our black men already have a lot to do, or they experience or deal with a lot of stuff in the community already. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then
Right.
to come home and then have to deal with more, and and their home's supposed to be a peace, supposed to be a safe haven for them to come,
Right.
to just be who they are, just to relax and to release whatever it is.
Right.
But and I'm glad that you said you found somebody where they were able to mentor you, they were able to
Yeah.
help you, because a lot of our young men and women, for that matter, don't
Mhm.
have that mentor that is willing to take them under their wing
Right.
and teach them these things. And I know Miss Tasha, I know she's on here, and she has an organization that she helps the young people as well. So we
Oh,
need more organizations like Tasha's to
right.
be able to teach our young girls, hey, you are enough, or
Mhm.
you can do this.
Yeah.
Or for young men, for your organization, what have you, to say, this is how you act as a man. This is what you do
Right.
as a man.
Right.
It's not all about selling dope. It's not all about sagging their pants and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You can still be respected, because I know
Right.
men like to be respected. You still can be respected with
Right.
your pants off. You still can be
Right.
respected and have a job or a profession that you
Right.
love to go do on a daily basis. And then
Right.
once you had that mindset, you had that business mindset. You know,
Right.
you took what you was doing for other people to create something for yourself and for your family. And a
Right.
lot of
Right.
our young people now don't have that mindset. And I was talking to somebody about that. A lot of our young people don't have that mindset, or they don't have that person or that individual in their life to say, you can do whatever you set your mind to do,
That's
you know,
exactly
to inspire them, to encourage them to do better than where
right.
they are, you know, and they don't have to be the product of their environment. They can be greater than what
That's
they are in
right.
right now.
That's right.
So
That's
so it's good
absolutely
that
right.
you're here to share that from a man's perspective, because
That's
you were once a young man, for you to share these things. And it's good, you know, we need to have more dialects like this, you know, with different people, men speaking about what it is that they go through as men, you know,
right.
what it is that they go through as young. All right, here we go. Here we go.
Oh,
I
dang.
don't know what happened. It was getting good.
Hey,
It
me trying to infiltrate.
was getting good. I'm sorry, y'all. We had some technical difficulties. It was getting good. It was getting good. Oh, but Tasha said, I agree, because I say all the time, my son could have benefited from a male mentor, and a lot of us could have. You know, a lot of young men, a lot of women, young girls can benefit from having a mentor, but we don't have now, in like we had when we was coming up, where in our communities we had those older individuals
Right.
that was in the
Yeah.
community that said, okay, come on, I
Yeah.
got you. Your mom's at work. We finna, you know, I'm
Right.
finna make sure you okay. We don't have that
Right.
now. Um,
Yes.
but now we have to be more mindful of who we have our children around as
We
well.
do. We do.
Yeah.
It's a lot out there this day and time. I mean, and for people to protect their children in the way that they do, I understand. I really do.
Yes.
I
Yes.
have daughters and I have granddaughters, and I really feel um, overprotective of them, but I also feel like they're my responsibility as far as trying to prepare them for situations and things of that nature too.
Yes.
Because if
Yes.
we don't, then they're going to life with like being deer in the headlights and not have a
Mhm.
clue, and then end up getting caught up in some things that will cause problems in
Absolutely.
later on in life as well.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
I think that this is why we did the segment that why fathers
Yes.
matters.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Because I think that it's a subject like you're saying right now, where it's not a lot of men speaking out on certain things about
Mhm.
man or father, manhood, and things of that nature. And I think that I want to also reach out to more men and say, listen. Um, we gotta get away from being afraid of the stigma that men have had on them. You know,
Mhm.
the deadbeats, the this, that, and all that. That's all stuff that people are speaking up on from a perspective of just lack of understanding. If we
Right.
communicate more and start opening ourselves up and expressing these type of things, then more people can start getting an understanding from a different perspective, and
Yes.
it doesn't turn into a bashing thing. I think we get
Right.
caught up in bashing each other that where we don't get into enough of understanding each other, because we
Come
all
on. Come on.
experience something. We all
Yeah.
experience things that's causing us to operate and function a certain way.
Come
So
on.
beating each other up is not going to benefit anyone, because the one that loses more than anything is the
Is a
one
child.
up under us. That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Child.
So we can't turn nothing around unless we turn ourselves around. And the
Come
first thing
on.
we have to do is we have to learn how to develop relationships with one another. We
Come
got to
on. Come on.
educate one another. We have to learn how to be sincere with one another, and we have to be able to understand the importance of looking at each other from our different point of views.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem listening to what a woman has to tell me about her journey and the things that she had to go through and things that, you know, make her be who she is and how she
Yeah.
functions as she does. Because to me, what that does is it says, okay, you're willing to be an open book, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're willing to say, you know what, I know these things about myself, so here it goes. Here's the problem. Now I'm ready for the solution. You
Come
know,
on.
and
Yeah.
that as men, we have to do the same thing. We can't
Yes.
become combative when someone tries to give us a constructive criticism or
Yes.
things out about ourselves. We got to stop taking things personal, get this chip off our shoulder, because
Yes.
without understanding how important it is to communicate, we're we can't be enemies of each other. We already live in a world we have too many enemies already.
Come on. Yes.
The
Yes.
casualties are our children. You know,
Yes.
I I had to do a lot of work with my children because of my circumstances and the things that happened between the time they were born until they became teenagers, now adults. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a very daunting task,
Yeah.
because I'm willing to do anything and everything, but
Right.
they still have to develop and grow and get an understanding as well before it can become something where they're comfortable with saying, okay, you know what,
Come on.
we're
Yeah.
good now. Okay, come on,
Yeah.
let's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I have to be able to stay strong enough not to take anything personal if there's a gripe about something or they feel some type of way about something. I have to realize, okay, that was on me. I'm the reason why
Yeah.
you feel that way. I get it. You know what I'm saying? And still be able
Right.
to have the openness to have that dialogue with them and talk to them and express to them, yeah, I love you. I did
Yeah.
not want
Yes.
things to be, it wasn't intentional. It was just that I was not in the best state of mind. I didn't have the best of anything as far as
Mm.
I was operating, the way I was functioning. And
Right.
life just kind of took me and just ran and had me all over the place. I never had no
Yes.
control. So I think as they get older, they start
Mm-hmm.
really understanding more because they start living life. They start
Right.
experiencing, and so
Right.
I think that has helped a lot with my relationship with my children now, because some of them have children. Some of them,
Mm-hmm.
done dealt with some things in their lives, and now
Right.
look at life a little bit different. And they say, "Well, damn, Dad, you know, I see what you were saying. I see what you was dealing
Mm.
with, I see what you was going through." And so we just continue to try to, build on that and strive
That's
to have a
good. That's
future
good.
moving forward.
But the thing that you said too, which really stuck out to me, is being accountable. You were accountable for your actions of what you
Right.
did.
Yeah.
Coming up,
Yeah.
parenting does not have a manual. No, so we're all going to make many mistakes raising our children.
Right.
But the biggest thing that I commend you on is being accountable. You were big enough to tell your kids, even though you're their kid, they're your children. I'm sorry. I did this. I knew I messed this up. It was me. I'm not blaming y'all. It was me.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we have to get as parents.
Yeah.
It's okay for us to apologize to our kids for things that we've done.
Very
I
much.
know I went back to my boys and I told them, I said, you know what? I may not have been the greatest mother in the world when y'all was coming up, but I did what I thought I knew how to do to
Right.
raise y'all, to make ends meet, to make sure y'all was okay. I did it. It may not have been the best. Y'all may
Right.
not agree to what I did, but
Right.
again, I did it because I thought that this is something good. That's it would help us.
Yeah.
But like I said, when they were older, I did apologize, and a lot
Hmm.
of times, uh, us being as parents, we think that we should not have to apologize to our children because
Yeah.
those are the children, we're their adults, and people have that mindset.
Yeah.
I don't have to apologize to you. I'm the parent here.
Yeah. And when you had that position with your children, you shut them out. You do so much more damage and not
Yeah,
realizing that you don't give them a safe place to be able
yeah,
to express, because that's a trauma for them. You
it
know,
is.
you take it for granted because it's your kid. Like
Right.
they're not another human being. Like
Mm.
they're your kid, but they don't belong to you in that way. You're not the possessor of them. They are the
Yeah, I
possessor of
loaned them to you. Yes.
exactly. So you
Mhm.
gotta be careful on how you deal with them. You're dealing with
Yeah.
God's. That's God's child, not yours.
Yeah, that
Just
part.
just in here to just basically and kind of hold mold them up and everything, but you don't. You know what I mean? You have to get to the point where you have to get out of the way. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's
Gonna
good.
help, if you're not going to help and not, be in a position to try to do things where it's going to make life better for them, then just get
Yes.
out of the way. Just let them kind of get through what they need to get through so they can have a safe environment to be able to have what they need in order for them to develop and grow. We gotta
Yes.
stop letting our kids. We gotta stop treating our kids like, you know, we slave owners, and you just do what I say and that's it. You
Come
know,
on.
you
Come
gotta,
on. That's good.
yeah,
That's real good. I know Kevin said we need help keeping the kids out of trouble in prison. So it's more brothers like us need to be there for them. And I agree. I
I agree.
agree.
I
Mm-hmm.
totally agree. That was one of the things that got me started with the basketball program that we did.
Mm-hmm.
We dealt with a lot of inner city kids, and what we did with our basketball program, even though we were a pretty competitive program, but
Mm-hmm.
we also did a lot of educating. So instead of having practice, sometimes we'll go to the library. I bring
Oh,
some
good.
speakers in. Yeah, I bring some speakers in, and I
Mm-hmm.
let them, we talk to have the speakers talk to them about life situations.
Good.
Economics. We had
Mm-hmm.
to talk about, just being young men who are about trying to be groomed to become greater men later down in life, and the
Yes. Good.
experiences that you know that you take from basketball and you implement them in life.
Mm.
We were striving to merge that together, and we
Right.
had a lot of good children come out of that program who didn't continue to play basketball, but went on to become great students in college, and now
Oh,
are
good.
doing their careers and stuff like that. So it's stuff like that that I've been proud of. Is even going through everything that I've gone through. I
Yes.
think for me, was when I coached and I did all those things with these kids,
Mm.
those were the type of things that I did as part of a healing to a certain degree because
Mm.
I didn't really have that. I didn't have a dad, I didn't
Okay.
have a uncle that was like, come on, man, you gonna come over here, you gonna do this, this, that. I didn't have any
Right.
of that. And
Right.
so and my trauma was I acted as if I didn't need it, you know.
Mm.
And so by me shutting that part of myself down and not acknowledging it,
Yes.
it just basically gave me a dead space where
Mm.
it got filled with other things, and
Okay.
it caused me to have a different outlook on certain situations that if my dad could have been visible or my dad would have been present, maybe I would have been fed something different. And so I
Mhm.
look at that the same way with the kids. It's a lot of unfathered children that we have,
Mhm.
a lot of unfathered young boys, and I try
Yeah.
to emphasize on boys a lot more for the simple fact I'm an advocate for making good men because
Good, good,
I
good,
look
good.
I look at the situation when I hear a lot of women complain, they ain't no good men, they ain't no good men, this, and that. I get it. I'll never deny them that. But
Right, right.
what I say with that is this: as the men, we're responsible for giving them good men. We got to
Mm.
give them good men to feel that they don't have to say those type of things or feel that type of way.
Mm.
It
Yeah,
starts with us making and developing that.
I
We we
like that.
we have a lot of issues, but we also have a lot of solutions. So
Yeah,
figure out how do we go about causing this effect to be a different way instead of it being the constant over time, the same thing over and over and over again. You
yeah,
know,
and
so
that's good that you said that because a lot of kids, you hear a lot of kids, young men that say, "Well, I don't need my dad. He wasn't in my life," or you
yeah,
hear young girls saying that, and I know I've said it too. You know, my dad wasn't in my life, part of majority of my life, and I said, "Well, I don't need him," and yes, it did leave a void, and he was angry, and then that built daddy issues,
yeah,
and not only girls have daddy issues, boys have daddy issues as well. But again, that's another topic that nobody discusses about, the young men having daddy issues. We always focus on the women with the daddy issues,
Yeah,
but that's gonna be another podcast.
right.
but
Listen,
but
there's so much out there, man. We can make, oh my, 50 million episodes,
right, to be continued.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I do this, I mean, we're laughing. It's good that we're in a place where we can laugh, but when we're going through it, it didn't feel good.
no,
And I know when kids are going through it now, it doesn't feel good, because oftentimes when children are going through it, and I know I thought about it, and I'm pretty sure you did too,
mhm,
am I not good enough?
mhm,
If my dad is not there for me, am I not good enough? Was I the one who ran him away? Or,
right.
or vice versa, if it was a mother, why my mother leave me? Why my mother put me up for adoption? Why my mother did this? She wasn't there for me.
Yeah,
So he's that void. And then again, like you said, you found other things to replace that.
right.
Like, that's a form of self-medicating. So you're self-medicating yourself because you don't want to deal with that soft spot right there. So
Exactly right.
I'll do this, if I get this, if I do this, and I have that, and I just combined it, I don't have to deal with what I
How
need
to
to
do
deal
it.
with.
Right, exactly.
But again, we're not taught how to deal with certain things. We're taught how to cover it up and keep it moving.
Right, and
We're taught that.
that's what produces trauma. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely.
it's,
Not even thinking about it. And it was bad. I was bad with that. If I don't think about it, it'll go away.
yeah.
If I don't worry about it, if I sweep it on the rug, it'll go away.
Hmm.
But again, like you said, it produces more trauma.
Right.
And then you wonder why you attract to hurt people. You
That's
attract them. It's like a magnet, and you wonder why you keep attracting certain people, because you have to do some healing.
right.
And
Yeah.
I create this platform, David, is because I want to bring healing to our families,
Uh,
not only families, but to individuals, because we need, we all need healing.
yeah.
Somebody's hurting from something,
That's exactly
and everybody needs healing. And I believe that if we get the healing that we need, then we can be happy. And there's so many angry people walking around. There's so
right.
many angry young men walking around. There's so
Yeah.
many angry young ladies walking around,
Yeah.
and they're lashing out at people. They're fighting people. They're jumping people, and you
Hmm.
think, oh, they just being teenagers. No, there's something deeper going on.
Something. Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to say too. Listen, when I first saw your show pop up,
Hmm.
um, I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank
This
you.
platform, what you're pushing out there, this is so necessary. And
Yeah,
I think that with what you're doing, I love the fact that you can bring people on who can express and share stories,
mhm.
because in every story there's glory. In every story,
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
you know. So I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate you inviting me on. Appreciate
Thank
everything,
you.
because this is something I feel, and I know you're probably definitely driven by what you're doing. And I am like head over heels when it comes to trying to help people, because
Yeah.
I want to be able to. I would love for everyone to be able to feel what I feel, despite
Yeah.
whatever trauma, whatever uh, you know, whatever damages that has been done to them, whatever they have
Yes.
experienced in their life, that they felt
Yes.
like life was just, I mean, because I'm telling you, I've experienced some pretty deep depressed situations that I never thought I would. I
Mm,
about killing myself before, and I never
yeah.
ever in my life thought I would think like that.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
a scary feeling for me,
Yes.
and so, people suffer in silence all the time. People don't
Yes. Come
express
on. Come
themselves
on.
all, and again, we're so worried about being judged in this world that is so,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it what it is. It's an illusion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything is not what
Yeah.
it appears to be, and so you have to be able to get hold of yourself and take
Right.
control of what you allow to go into your mind.
Come
And
on.
if you can find yourself, find an interest in like self-help books,
Mhm.
listen to motivational speeches, uh,
Mhm.
prayer, man, pray a lot. I
Prayer
know
goes a long way, honey. Prayer heals.
always listening. What I mean, you ain't got to be the most person, but just give it a shout out every now and again. You'll see some changes. You'll see some differences happening in your life, and
Absolutely.
and just live it according to your own well-being. Live it to your own accord. Live it to what makes you feel the best of what you are. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Telling you, if we do that, then we'll start having more people like you and I can. We don't even know each other, but you would think we
Right.
talking to each other for 10 years. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
kindred spirit, and
Yeah.
that's the beauty of all that. When you see your brother, your sister in the streets, and hey, what's up? We don't speak to each other no more. We
Come on. Yeah.
speak more on Facebook or messaging, but we see each other, and it could be the same person you just saw. You won't even say hi to them.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
they're becoming so numb to the reality of life, to where
Yeah.
we just becoming stone hearted, and we have to do something about it, but it has to start from you as an individual.
That's right.
And to say, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah. And
I'm being
actually, when you're going through certain things, sorry, David, when you're going through certain things, oftentimes we think that we're the only one going through. We're the
right,
only one going through this, but there's other people that's going through the same situation. We may
yeah,
be on opposite sides of the world. We may be next door neighbors,
that's
but
right.
all of us, we may go through something. And then, I was talking to somebody about this. I said, even though we go through the things that we go through in life, it's not, yes, we are the one who experiences it,
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, there's purpose for that purpose.
yes,
So you go through certain things because there's a purpose behind that.
right,
So
all right,
it's for somebody else, because how can you go and help somebody? Because this is ministry. So how can you
yeah,
go and help somebody if you've never been in the trenches? How can
exactly,
you help? If I'm in the trenches right now, how can you help me and you don't even know what it feels like to even go through any such
exactly,
pain? But
right,
you going through your pain is allowing you to be able to be empathetic
yes,
when
yes,
you are dealing with other people that are going through certain things. So you will not be so quick to turn your head when your brother or your sister's going through some pain. You
that's
be like,
exactly
come on, I got you. We finna pray, or we finna, I'm finna walk it out with you. We finna hit these hills. We finna do this.
right, that's
To
right.
know that you have that person that you can call on, or like, I've met a lot of people on Facebook.
Hmm.
And like I met you on Facebook, and then
Yeah,
end up some of the people that end up being my friends
right,
in
right,
the long run, because we make that connection. And just like
right,
Miss Tasha, I've never
hmm,
met her. I pray one day we'll be able to meet and do something together. But because
right,
she does a lot of things too that is, it touches my heart, and I know she
yeah,
has a very soft heart and for the girls. And
right,
so when you meet people like that, you want to hold on to them because they're like gems. To me,
yes,
they're like gems. So
that's
hold on to those gems, and then y'all
right.
can start, iron sharpen iron. So,
Yes, right.
if you find like-minded individual, y'all start making some things happen, because,
Yes,
we can do more with two of
together.
us.
That's right.
Right. And just
Right.
by ourselves.
That's
We can't build a kingdom by ourselves. We need some help. Because when we need somebody gonna do the bottom, the platform, we're gonna need somebody who do,
right.
the walls, the studs, and all the other, the
Exactly.
stucco, the later cement.
Everybody's fulfilling
We
their
need
purpose.
everybody to be a
Yeah.
part. Right.
Right. That's real talk. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And it's a great feeling to be able to help somebody, because I may not need it, but my kids may need it, or my grandkids may need help
Yeah.
sometime down the road. And
Yeah.
then knowing that I help somebody, that it doesn't have to come to me, but as long as it helps my kids or my grandkids when they need it,
Yeah.
that's how I look at it. I'm planting seeds.
That's
So I'm
right.
planting seeds. So then somebody's gonna water them seeds, and the seeds
Yeah.
are gonna bloom and they're gonna blossom.
Right.
So
That's
that's why
right.
I do what I do. And it's a great feeling to be able to reach up. I ain't gonna reach down on nobody, but
That's
to
right.
grab my sister or brother's hand and to help lift them up,
Yeah.
because at one point I was down there.
That's right.
I was
Right.
I was I was down in the dumps. I was in those trenches, and then
Yeah.
somebody reached and grabbed me and say, "Come on!" And that's what we
Right.
need. That's
That's
truly
exactly
what
what we need. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with you
yeah,
2000%.
Yes, and
But
Tasha said, listen, because when I go into the juveniles to mentor these girls and boys, I be needing my brothers and sisters to help me. Amen. Yeah, absolutely. You do,
listen,
because you can reach more.
anytime, anytime that you go do something like that, Tasha, if you give me a heads up, I promise you, I'll come with you. Just let me know.
Yeah,
I'm,
Tasha does a lot.
I'm into that. That's for me, that is what I believe my calling is. For the
Hmm.
simple fact that the life that I have lived, I understand it all the way from the street level, all the way out.
Yeah.
I've dealt with every aspect of street violence, street drugs, street
Mm.
anything you could possibly name. I've dealt with
Yeah.
it. Even facing time in prison and all of that.
Hmm.
So that's um, something that I think God has allowed me to go through in life because
Hmm.
that is something that He wanted me to share with other people. So
Hmm.
therefore, maybe curb somebody else from going through that process or going through those
Right.
situations.
Right.
Even with me having multiple children the way I had multiple children, I talk to my sons about this all the time. They're different
Hmm.
than I am. None of them have children the way I had children. I got one son
Okay.
that has one child. I have one
Hmm.
son that has five, but they're married. They're together. So
Oh, good.
he took on my soul, but he took it on with, you know what I mean? But my daughters, they got, two children. So it's like they have, already to
Mhm.
me have already stepped up to another level when it comes to
Good, good,
understanding
good.
the importance of the decisions that you make that is going to be a certain outcome. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I talk to my children about this situation with them as well. I talk about them and how
Good.
things came about. I'm an open book with them because
Mm.
I want them to understand that this is also a lesson for you too. You know
Come
what I mean?
on. Yes.
If you could take from what things that I've experienced and done, and you could
Mhm.
take it and go another direction with it, or whatever it is that's good I've done, you can increase. Then listen, it's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? So
Being transparent, and again, like you said, it helped because it curbed their appetite.
that's
They
right,
didn't want to do the same thing that you want to do, but that's something that we have to learn how to do.
right,
Being parents, that hey, okay, I'm going to be transparent. This is what happened,
right.
and by you being transparent, you helped your children because now you're breaking generational curses. Because
Exactly.
now that stuff is not being, they're not being um affected in that way. And yes, Tasha, yes, transparency is the key,
Yes,
but
yes,
again, we want to be like we're none. We ain't never been through nothing. We ain't never did nothing.
yeah.
And we thinking we
Faking
helping
the faking
kids.
the front. Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. Kids are not stupid. Like they know, and like friends who got parents who know you who don't. You know what I mean? So
Come
at
on.
least
Yeah.
if you tell them, if it come out the other on the other side, it won't. You can combat what they might add to it. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
you
Right.
jump ahead of the gun and just put it out there, and then you ain't got to worry about the backlash from it. You know what I mean? It's
That's
already
right.
done.
And that's going to be another topic we need to talk about, because something you just said too. We're talking about, men think, young boys think, by the many kids that they have makes them a man.
Oh man,
That's gonna be another topic.
you
That's
can get
another
on.
topic, because you hear, especially on TikTok, you see all kinds of stuff on
Yeah.
TikTok,
Oh
but
my
you
goodness,
see, you see a
it's
lot of
amazing.
people. It is, you see, but they think that's a man. That's being a
Yeah,
man by doing that.
yeah, yeah. They have a complete lack of understanding. That's bottom line. And so what frightens me about the whole social media thing is because the platform is so big, there's so much
Yes,
out there, so many
yes,
people gathering, so many people that's following them, and people that's being influenced by them. So it's
yes.
like all this stuff is constantly getting infested like a virus. It
Mhm.
spreads so
Yes.
fast. And but again, people like you are out here trying to, show people a different way and give them a different understanding.
Mhm.
It's going to have a ripple effect as well, because
Mhm.
as you get older, see, they're young now, but as they start getting older,
Come on, come on. When life starts to hit, huh?
yes, they're gonna start looking up and saying,
what had happened
It's
was
nowhere before. I'll tell you.
yeah, so we
Right.
need to, I mean, like I said, we need as a culture, we do need to know how learn how to talk to one another again. There
No.
was a guy called Hill Harper. He
Uh-huh.
wrote a book about, it's called The Conversation. And
Okay.
he speaks about the same thing that you said about us learning how to talk to one another. You know,
Yeah.
we already women, we already bad mouthing the black men, and the black men are already down in the black women. And so how can we meet in the middle when we're coming against one another already, and you're
Yeah.
not giving each other a chance uh to talk or what have you, or even have an adult conversation or a dialogue, because we're already coming out the gate. We already,
Yeah.
already have a bad feeling or out against our
Yeah.
brother or sister. And we
Yeah.
do need to learn how to communicate with one another.
Yeah.
Um, we have to heal as a whole. We have to heal as a society. We have to heal as a culture. We have
Yeah.
to heal, our families, because it's a
Right.
lot
That's
in
exactly
our families that we are dealing with, that has been passed down from generations to generations and generations.
right.
And it's time that we correct what was put out that was incorrect.
Yes.
Because it is affecting us, it is affecting our kids, it's affecting our grandkids in so many ways, where you sit back now that you're grown and you're older, you sit and more mature, you sit back and you say, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, where
Yeah.
where did we lose the connection? Where, I mean, and I sit and I just look at a lot of things that's going on. I'm like, where did we leave? What did we lose? I mean,
Yeah.
what happened? Where did it
Yeah.
go?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, this has been something that I've always felt. Once I started getting an understanding how important it is to develop, our
Hmm.
lack of development is so big when
Hmm.
it comes to all of these things. Because if I can't tell myself that I'm responsible for me and how I
Hmm.
respond to certain things, or
Right.
how I view certain things, or get some type of perspective that's going to give me a different outlook, and then we
Right.
come together, I'm doing this instead of
Right.
this. So now
Right.
the communication becomes skewed automatically because now
Hmm.
we're both in battle mode.
That's
We
good. That's good.
constantly want to point the flaws out towards each other, but
Hmm.
we don't really understand what those flaws mean, what they
Mm.
are, why they
Yeah.
are, why they're the way they are. We're not
Right.
this way just because. We got to get
Absolutely.
to the bottom of understanding why is this way.
Hmm.
There's a
Hmm.
and as long as you're willing to get an understanding, then you
Yes.
can have all the communication in the world once you can get past that initial, you get what I mean? So
That's right. That's right.
I think that is what I feel is missing with a lot of us is we haven't taken the time to really get to know who we are as people.
That's good.
Once we get
That's
to
really
really know
good.
who you are, you'll see you'll love yourself again. You when you love yourself, you'll start loving other.
Hey, that's right. That's right. That's
You know,
right.
so I think that's the work that we have to put in play. That's what we have to be able to try to, we have to be able to try to overcome those different
Yeah,
obstacles within ourselves. And once we do
absolutely.
that, we'll be okay. You know,
I agree. I agree. And in order for change to happen, we have to be that change. So
exactly.
as long as we take that first step and keep going and keep pushing and keep doing what we're doing, well, hey, we may not be able to touch everybody, but we're going to touch a few. And as
Yeah,
long as we touch a few, we're doing our job.
right.
And I thank you for doing what you do as well. Um,
Appreciate
you know, and not only that, but also in your family, how you did that. You was being transparent, how you
you. Yeah,
took accountability for your actions when your children were younger, how you
yeah,
did that. That takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength.
yeah,
Say, hey, I did that, I was wrong,
yeah.
and not put it off on my kids. Well, my kids don't want to talk to me, so I don't want to talk to my kids.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's mhm,
we already coming out the gate, like you said, we're coming off wrong. And so now
yeah,
we done messed up the whole situation's all messed up all over again. Man, and
right,
so now you're hurting, now your children hurting, and so now nobody wants to talk, nobody wants to come to family functions, nobody
right,
wants to be surrounding each other.
Right.
And so that's where our family is messed up, because we have that we had that mindset where, oh, well, I'm the parent, so
Mhm.
whatever I say
Do what I
is right.
say.
Well,
Right. Yep. Do what I
yeah,
say. That's it. Question nothing. Yeah.
as Marcus said, be the change you want to see in the people and situations. Absolutely, Marcus.
Yeah. No doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt, bro. That's
Absolutely.
that statement right there is so unbelievably real. You don't even know. Like my
Absolutely.
therapist used to tell me this all the time. You know, instead of trying to change what's around you, change yourself, and you'll see what's
Mm,
going to happen. All the things that's going to happen with the
yeah.
people and the situations that are around you. But that's
Yep.
really good, Marcus. You're absolutely right about that, brother.
There's a domino effect.
That's
There's a
right.
domino effect.
Yeah,
You do, you take care of you, and then everybody around you, like you said, will either follow suit or fall off.
that's it.
Um,
You
so
know, either way, it's fine by me.
hey, absolutely, absolutely.
Look, the door is always open. When you're ready to come back, we good.
We're good. We can revisit. We can revisit,
Yeah.
right? So it has truly been a blessing, Marcus. Sitting here dialoguing, having an adult conversation on
Yes.
things and well needed conversation, what we need to talk about as a
Right.
whole.
Yeah.
And and I'm serious about that. The other topic,
Mhm.
with the young men thinking that having multiple children by different
Yeah.
women
Yeah.
makes them a
Definitely.
man.
Yeah.
um,
Definitely.
and and
Yeah.
it
It's
goes
time.
deeper than that too. It's a lot deeper. It's a lot of uh, unresolved or underlining issues that
Yeah.
goes behind that as well. So
Yeah.
that is another topic. You let me know when you are ready and available, and we'll
Okay.
put that on the calendar so we can revisit that and do that. That's a topic that, like I said, needs to be discussed in our community,
Absolutely.
within our families. Um, but I truly, thank you for coming on, sharing your story with us. Um, the
Appreciate you.
things that you've done and been through as a teen father, the changes that you made within your family, for the better, and which is good. And also too, so if someone needs you to come and speak, how can they get a hold of you?
You can inbox me on my Facebook page, Instagram, or TikTok.
David Ware, right?
David Ware. Yeah.
All
My
right.
TikTok handle is David Ware 24.
Okay. So
I'll
we'll
be
put that in the comments for the people that needs your information, that wants you to come and speak, or or something like that. And like I said, it's all about helping and connecting. We can't build the kingdom by ourselves. We need different individuals. Everybody has a role to play, a part to play in this. And if we all learn to stay in our own lanes and make it work, then we're gonna be all right coming out the gate doing that, having that mindset,
You're
having
absolutely
that
right.
mindset.
And yes,
Yes.
yes, Tasha, I look forward to connecting with you too. Yeah, anytime. Like I say, my handle for TikTok is David Ware 24. My Instagram is D Ware Strong, and
Okay.
Facebook is David Ware.
So we'll put all that information in the comments, so you can reach out where you can find David. He'll be a good guy to come out and speak, especially to the young men. We need more men going out speaking to our young boys,
Absolutely.
helping save our young men. So again, David, thank you for coming on, sharing your story on tonight. It has truly been a blessing and a pleasure to
Yes,
sit and to talk with you. I'm ready to break bread again. So, like I said, I'll be
yes,
reaching. I'll
absolutely,
be, I'll
absolutely.
be reaching out to you again.
Anytime, anytime. You take
Awesome,
care of
awesome.
yourself.
Thank you. You too. Have a good night.
You too. You know.
All
Bye.
right. Bye bye.